Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome again to the All-in-One Box YouTube channel. It's been tough. YouTube is not easy, but I've spoken to quite a few YouTubers who are already making a living out of creating content, and all they have advised me to do is to not stop, to keep going, keep posting, keep trying to improve on my content, and I'll eventually get there. So yeah, if you've not subscribed to my channel, this is the time for you to subscribe. It's all good. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. Just click that subscription button, subscribe to my channel, and make sure when you subscribe, just try and like my videos, watch my videos, and I'll appreciate if you can drop me your comments. So, scamming, fraud, as we call it in Africa, 419, especially us from Cameroon and Nigeria and some other African countries. We call it 419. And I bet you the whole world know Nigerians are the top scammers, but they are not. They are not the top scammers. It's just that, when we from Africa do something, it's like we are the worst, but we are not the worst. For one, Donald Trump, he's a scammer, right? Andrew Tate is a scammer, right? There are so many different schemes, but they're all the same thing. Defrauding people out of their money. Putting on a different face and making money out of putting that fake face is coming. So, we Africans are not the worst, but we do contribute to this coming world. And Nigerians are top on the list. Cameroonians are also scammers. We've also got scammers, but we are not that big as Nigerians because we don't really hit the big ones, but Nigerians, they hit the big ones. We all know Hushpuppi. He's not the only Nigerian, he's not the only biggest Nigerian scammer, but we all know Hushpuppi. So, it's been a number of years since he was incarcerated in the United States. And again, I saw this video from, it's how the FBI solved the $1.6 billion Instagram scam. $1.6 billion Instagram scam. Again, make sure you subscribe, make sure you like, comment, and tell me what you think. Have you got any friends who are scammers? In your family, are you the scammer? Or your brother is? What do you think of scammers who go around boasting of their ill-earned money? Do you, how can I put it? Do you envy them? Or do you detest them? If you're working hard, but you can't spend the amount of money that they're spending, do you, or you just don't give a damn until somebody scams you? Anyway, in this world, you either work hard to make your money the legit way, or you steal. And stealing can be done in so many different ways. Scamming is one of them. So, let's check this out again. I know it's a boring video. We've seen this a million times, but let's see, and we might get something new from this today. So let's go right into it. The guy was good. Ooh.
Hushpuppi was a
The mistake that caused him. The mistake. There's always going to be a mistake somewhere.
Louis Vuitton. They even sent him custom cakes on his birthday. He was living the dream until 2020. A SWAT team kicked down his door as he slept.
4 jacuzzis. 4.
Everything. His cars, his cash.
Really?
A list of his victims' email addresses. Yes, all 2 million of them. This is the story of Hushpuppi. A mistake that cost him more than 10 years of his life behind bars. The previous year, he'd given an MTV Crib-style
from Lagos, not Lagos,
to radio personality Daddy Freeze. As they gazed at his hordes of designer clothes, Rolls Royces.
Sometimes when you make your money in that way,
he described the
try to shut up.
Incredible wealth.
Shut up and enjoy the ill-gotten wealth.
When something good happens to me, I know it's because I did good, not because somebody promised me money that I did not work for or money that I don't deserve. But what was this work that he was always so cagey about? How did a poor kid from Lagos become a self-professed...
Yeah, even though Hushpuppi was spending the money on designer clothes, he had earlier in his life, he liked to stand out. So it's not something like he got the money before he started dressing flashy.
He was raised in poverty in Lagos,
he loved,
Nigeria.
Even when he didn't have money, he was still dressing flashy. From that picture, you can see him. I'll tell you, back in the days, that was flash.
And luxury. And when he was old enough, he began a small business reselling designer clothes from the boot of his car. In the early 2000s,
romance scams. Who comes to mind? Cobra Tate.
cyber cafes began appearing across Nigeria, and the unemployed youth flocked to them, first for entertainment, but soon as a way to make money through online crimes like check cashing and romance scams. The young men used free Yahoo email accounts to run their cons, earning them the nickname Yahoo Boys. They would spend hours online in search of magus, meaning gullible marks, and then days, weeks, or months conning them out of their cash. With few other prospects, Abbas became a keen Yahoo boy, and he soon found success. But then, the Nigerian security forces began viciously on cybercrime, often beating first and asking questions later. Any young man with a smartphone became a target. So, in 2014, Abbas, along with many other Yahoo boys, fled to Malaysia, a country with more sophisticated internet architecture and law enforcement that was a little laxer against potential cyber criminals. There, he strived to be the best, and his drive and entrepreneurial spirit propelled him to the top of the game. At this point, he became Hushpuppi. Hushpuppi was Abbas's Instagram handle, and he used it to flaunt his wealth and post motivational messages about breaking out of poverty with time and hard work. As his profits skyrocketed, he splashed his cash on designer clothes, luxury watches, and expensive cars. It was rare to see a post that didn't come with a hashtag for Gucci, Fendi, Versace, or Rolls-Royce. His bio read "Billionaire Gucci Master," and the more he flaunted his newfound wealth, the faster he gained followers. At his peak, over 2.8 million people were viewing his posts about his custom purple Rolls-Royce, his flights on private jets, and his Fendi shopping sprees. In Nigeria, he'd become a celebrity, and at peak influencer status, his beloved designer brands started gifting him everything from trainers to an all-expenses-paid trip to the Ritz, Paris as a VIP guest of Louis Vuitton. Fendi invited him to dine with society's elite, and in one event, the Kuala Lumpur branch of Versace hosted him and fellow Instagrammer Samson Oyokunle and presented them with gifts for being the store's best customers. Abbas celebrated by spending another $20,000 and posting it all on his Instagram. Around the same time, he got close with another influencer, Ismaila Mustafa, known as Momfa. Together, they showed off their wealth and designer
Fino, not Fino.
even
Come
mentioned in the song Living Things by Nice. Of course, no one can be a true influencer without getting pulled into a few online feuds. Some seemed staged, like his fallout with musician Davido over an accusation that Abbas had skipped out on his tab at a bar in Lagos. But the pair soon made up in a Snapchat video, and each was rewarded with a boost in followers. Not all of his spats ended so well though, and in some cases, they threatened to expose him. In one event, he accused rapper Fino of wearing fake watches. This prompted singer Casey to post, "You have no credibility, no known source of income, and yet you come on social media to attack hardworking Nigerian musicians with traceable wealth. Really, what do you do for a living? What is your talent? How did you make your money? What brand do you represent?" Nigeria's
Lots of millions.
Financial Crimes Commission needs to start paying more attention to detail. Abbas had shared every trip, meal, and shopping spree with his.
That's one thing which,
but of course,
when you are deep in scamming, when you are deep inside and the money is coming,
He always said something vague about real
uncontrollable.
estate
When
investment.
the money is
No
coming
one was buying the
in
story.
a way
But
that
how was he
you
making his
cannot
cash?
even have time to
Romance
rest.
scams can be good for a few thousand.
You tend to
even
forget
six
that
figures, but Abbas
the
was
more you're
clearly
scamming,
pulling in millions.
the closer you're getting to be arrested. Because you can only go that high into the sky and drop back down. But with these guys, sometimes money really blinds you. We all know I'm not from Nigeria. I'm from Africa, Cameroon. I've lived in the UK for a very long time. And I know friends, very close friends, who are scammers, who are still scamming today. I've spoken to some. I'll be like, dude, don't you think you've been lucky this far? Why don't you stop this? And they were like, nah, I'm just going to do it a little bit. I'm a little bit more careful now. That language is a language of somebody who is about to be arrested, to be busted. Because you rightfully know that what you're doing is wrong, and imagine how many families are going to be destroyed by you scamming them from their hard-earned investment. How many relationships are going to be destroyed? How many kids are going to be heartbroken? People's lifelong hard earning is unbelievable. We, as I said before, we know people, we know friends, we know even family members, relatives. If you are from Africa and you say you don't know, then you're lying. That are still doing this today. They've decided that that's their only way they're going to make money. Good for them. So once you are arrested, don't say, oh, luck wasn't on my side, because you cannot be doing this and thinking that you are going to be blessed. The more you do it, the closer you are going to be arrested. So watch out and prepare for the day you are arrested. And also one thing, let me not talk too much. Let's go. BECS. $1.8 million.
The true
Negligence.
source of his wealth was business email compromise schemes, or BECS. Like many others, Abbas had realized the real money in online fraud wasn't in scamming individuals, but multi-million-dollar companies. These crimes are so lucrative that they account for over 40% of funds stolen through fraud and cost $1.8 billion annually. Despite this, we don't hear about BECS in the news very often, usually because it's incredibly embarrassing for the companies involved. A typical BEC scam involves hacking into a corporate email address. This can be done through phishing or even guessing at passwords if the company has very lax security measures. Then the scammer
So easy, and yet very, very complicated.
will watch and wait for weeks or months until a large invoice comes in. At this point, they can intercept the invoice and mock up a near identical one, with the bank details changed to those of their own account. Alternatively, they can email the intended recipients from an almost identical address, apologizing that the previous account details were incorrect and providing new ones leading to the scammer's account. They may also create fake websites, businesses, phone hotlines, and identities, all as a way to convince anyone who may run security checks that the details are legit. Once the money hits the scam account, it's then quickly redistributed to multiple mule accounts, converted into Bitcoin, or used to buy physical goods like jewelry or gold. This launders the money and prevents victims from calling back the funds. For example, in 2019, a New York law firm needed to send a payment of around $922,000 to a client who'd refinanced a piece of real estate. Before wiring the money, a paralegal emailed to confirm where it should be sent.
The Gucci master.
This email was intercepted, and she soon received a fax telling her to send the money to a different account. Naturally, she checked to make sure it was legit by ringing the number on the
Yeah,
fax.
it's always a network of
Her call
scams.
was
Yeah.
answered, and the man on the other end was able to confirm all of the confidential details. Convinced, she sent the money to the new account, which of course didn't belong to her client, but to Abbas. The person she'd spoken to had been one of his associates, or perhaps the man himself. Crimes of this scale can't be run by an individual. They involve an entire network of scammers, some to set up false bank accounts, some to create fake websites, some to gain access to the email accounts, and others to launder the money. Plus, you need money mules, who are often unwitting people tricked into setting up laundering accounts through romance scams. Abbas, as one of the most successful BEC scammers, had a huge number of connections, including a Canadian money launderer called Galeb Alamari. He was normally responsible for transferring the cash into Abbas's account and worked with him on some of his largest scams. Their most high-profile heist was that of the Bank of Valletta in Malta, where, communicating through Snapchat and Abbas's Hushpuppi 5 account, the pair attempted to organize the distribution of 13 million euros. A scam had been pulled off by hackers who'd breached the French stock exchange regulator, Autorité des Marchés Financiers. Then, posing as the regulators, they sent phishing emails to the Maltese bank. When an employee fell for it, the team gained access to the bank's secure payments system and was able to send out millions of euros in undetected payments. Abbas's role was to provide bank accounts able to receive the deposits of millions of dollars without blocks, and then quickly launder it before it was recalled. Fortunately, this time, Abbas and his fellow money movers weren't able to move the millions quickly enough, and the bank was able to recover most of the missing funds. When the story hit the news, Alamari took a screenshot and sent it to Abbas. He replied simply, "Damn." Not to be put off, Alamari sent back, "Next one is in a few weeks. We'll let you know when it's ready." Too bad they caught on, or it would have been a nice payout. Similarly unfazed, Abbas took to Instagram the next day, posing head to toe in Fendi and leaning on a $160,000 sports car. "Bought myself a new Bentley Bentayga for Valentine's, the best way to celebrate the season of love." Unfortunately for Abbas, not everyone in his network was as laid back as he and Alamari. In another scam, he'd been working with a Kenyan entrepreneur named Juma to con a Qatari business person out of $1.1 million. This person had hoped to set up a new school in Qatar and needed a $15 million loan to fund the project. As this was just a bit more than his local bank was willing to lend, he hired a financial advisor who promptly Googled million-dollar loans and landed on Juma's scam website. Together, Juma and Abbas assumed false identities and spent months convincing the businessman that they could arrange the loan for various six-figure fees. Every time their victim became worried about the money not materializing, Abbas and Juma would double down and demand yet more cash, which would finally release the loan. In a final ploy, they hired Vincent Chibuzu to set up a fake Wells Fargo website and automated hotline. When the businessman rang it, he was informed that the $15 million was finally in his account, and he was over the moon. However, he was soon brought back down to earth when Abbas requested a $575,000 withholding tax to get the money out of the U.S. At this point, Chibuzu started petitioning for a larger share. When Abbas shut him down, he went to the client and exposed the scam. Naturally, Abbas was more than a little upset, so he messaged a man named Abba Chiari, saying he wanted Chibuzu to go through the most serious beating of his life. What was interesting about this is that Chiari wasn't a thug. He was Nigeria's multi-award-winning deputy police commissioner, otherwise known as Super Cop, the shining example of competence and incorruptibility within a heavily criticized system. But Abbas's message wasn't history's worst mistext. He'd actually intended to request a beating for hire from the Super Cop and followed up with, "Please, sir, I want to spend money."
The guy was not bluffing.
Shockingly, Chiari was more than happy to oblige and replied with the details of a Nigerian bank account. When the money arrived, he arrested Chibuzu and sent a picture of him locked up. He even updated Abbas after Chibuzu's girlfriend arrived with a bribe to have him freed. They were thinking it's a normal arrest. That is why they think money can remove him, he wrote. No money can remove him here. Ha 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 ha. The ironic thing about Abbas is that as a money launderer, his job was to make cash look as if it came from a legitimate source. But this was something he massively overlooked in his own life. His pursuit of likes and desire to show off his newfound wealth meant that flaunting it on Instagram was just too tempting, and among his 2.8 million followers were more than a few agents working to bring him down. Unsurprisingly, the FBI had become suspicious that the source of Hushpuppi's fortune wasn't legit. But they didn't really know who he was. That was until his birthday, when he posted a picture of the gifted cake he received from Gucci. Armed with his date of birth, agents were able to track him to a visa application, which led to his true identity and a much clearer look at his finances. It quickly became obvious that he was a prolific money launderer, and they placed him under surveillance, hoping to gather something concrete to use for his arrest. Ultimately, the crime that brought him down was one of his most successful, the payout from the New York law firm. After the $922K hit the Chase bank account in October 2019, Abbas worked quickly to split it up, sending $396,000 to a Canadian account. Then, he asked Alameri to confirm that it had arrived. Alameri replied that it had, but his plane had just landed, and he'd have to wait until he had a good enough signal to send a screenshot. Then, just moments later, as he walked into the airport, the FBI descended on him, and he was placed under arrest. The next day, Abbas's old friend Momfa was also arrested at a Nigerian airport by the EFCC and charged with fraud and money laundering. At this point, Abbas should have disappeared. After all, the FBI now had full access to Alameri's Snapchat, which was full of evidence and directly linked to rayhushpuppi@gmail.com.
47.
He seemed unconcerned and continued posting pictures of Fendi bags and hot tubs to his Instagram. His only evasive tactic was to change his bio.
$40 million in cash
developer
was seized
the FBI began
on the day he was arrested.
Near where Abbas
$40 million in cash.
On June 8, 2020, while Abbas was sleeping, a Dubai SWAT team placed him under arrest and seized 47 phones, 21 laptops, $7 million worth of luxury cars, $40 million, and the email addresses of 2 million potential victims.
Wow.
The Dubai authorities were so pleased with the successful haul that they released a short, stylized film of the arrest entitled Operation Fox Hunt 2. Soon, Abbas was flown to Chicago, where he stood trial in November 2022. He pleaded guilty to his crimes against the
yes.
that amounted to over $25
Get up in the morning,
million. He was
brush your teeth,
135 months
take your kids to
in
school,
prison and ordered
go to hustle,
$1.7 million in restitution.
and one day, when you think you finally made it, somebody like Abbas cleans everything out of your bank account.
The cops got a nice
20 years of work, 30 years of work, all gone in one night. And what happens? Men will tend to do things which you cannot even explain. It's sad, but it's reality. We all know somebody who does this, even up to today. They've been lucky, they've been making money, they've been spending money, they've been buying houses, they've been buying cars, they've been making it rain in nightclubs, buying champagnes. But some of us, we get up in the morning, we brush up, we go to work. While we are going to work, they are sleeping. Why? Because they were working at night. They were coming at night, they were drinking at night, they were spending money which is not theirs. And they expect us to lavish them with praises. Nobody is an angel. Nobody can rightfully sit down and say, I've never been involved in, or I've never partake in an in something related to scamming. We all have been in contact with somebody who scams. We all probably have tried. But sometimes you try those things because somebody introduced you to it, and then you realize, like, you know what, this shit is not good, this shit is bad. And then you step back and you start doing things that are honorable. You start working for your own money. Sometimes some of us, we are introduced to it and then we never look back. And then the day you are arrested, I'm going to laugh. If I know you and you get busted, I am going to celebrate. I'm going to pop champagne, because we might have explained it to you that that's not a good way of life. We might have probably said, you know what, dude, you've been lucky so far, you've not been arrested, so why don't you stop? And you might have said, no, I can't stop because the money is easy. The money comes so quick. Business is booming. So we all pray for the day you'll be arrested. And one other thing I'm just going to finish this with is, what do you tell your kids? What do you tell your wife? Do you tell your kids that that is a thief, that is a scammer? Do you tell your kids that I'm going to teach you how to scam? Or do you tell your kids that go to school, work hard, and you'll be successful, because you yourself, you're not actually, you're not truthful to your kids? Anyway, life is a choice. We all make choices, but we should be ready to face those consequences as a result of those choices. Anyway, if you've not subscribed to my channel, because this is how I'm trying to make my ends meet, I'm trying to build my platform legitimately. I'm trying to do things that I can be proud of, things that I can stand in the middle of the park and scream. I'm trying to do things that I am going to tell my child that this is how I make my money. This is how I raise you. These are the values. This is how you work hard. This is how you gain wealth. This is how you be successful. That is what I'm doing. So, all you can do, even if you're a scammer or you're not a scammer, make sure you subscribe to my channel. I haven't called any names. It's just something that has to be said. Hushpuppi, 2022, he was given 11 years, so he's going to come out when he is 38. He's going to be 48. No, 48 is not bad. He's going to be 48, so that's me. I'm gone anyway. I have nothing to say. Just make sure you subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you on the next video.